Well, it actually started off very unwillingly. Couple of co-ops in Oklahoma had already got into broadband, and they didn't go great, at least from the outside. Part of that was because they were out and new and doing things, really being a pioneer for basically what we eventually came behind. It didn't look like a good thing for any co-op to get into. In fact, I always joke around that I was pretty outspoken that no co-op should be getting into it. So I actually ended up having to eat a little crow through this transformation. But there's a couple main assumptions that I had that kind of got eroded as I learned more about it. The first one came when Jonathan Chambers of Connexon came and talked to the Oklahoma Statewide about just about the whole project, and we had a whole meeting, or the theme of the meeting we had was on broadband, and so the other co-ops that got up there were talking about their projects, and so some of the things that I thought were important for the success of the projects turned out they weren't. And so I started just changing my thinking of it, and then around the same time, the reason why we had this meeting was there's a magazine that goes out to all the electric cooperative members in the state, and they were doing all these stories on broadband, so it was kind of just the theme of that month. And the members just outpouring of feedback that, hey, they're like, hey, electric cooperatives do this, and we've been waiting for someone, we didn't know you guys did that. Once they figured out that we did that, or other co-ops are doing it around the country, they inundated us with, I got personal texts, I got personal emails, I got people that I didn't know had my cell phone number that were texting me and emailing me. And so really kind of in the spirit of the true electric cooperative, we were founded on 81 years ago, the members spoke and said, there is this great need, and we think you guys need to fill it. And at that point, it was too much of member who we work for. They own us, they govern us, and ultimately who I work for. Too much for me to ignore. So at that point, I said we got to do a feasibility study, at least to see what we're talking about. Once again, Jonathan was there at the meeting. So I talked to him. I said, what's the process? He kind of walked me through it. I did some research to see, who do we want to do for a feasibility study. And Connexon became the number one leader as far as the recommendation of who should do feasibility studies. So we had that. That was we launched that in February of 2017. And so feasibility study came through. We actually rushed it through because I talked to my board and I said, are you guys interested in this at all? And they said, absolutely, and which was a little bit of a surprise. I didn't hear much about it before then. So Connexon got the feasibility study done in time for a board retreat, and they presented at the board retreat and had a pretty big price tag. I mean, these projects are not small. And I thought, when I saw it, I was like, okay, I don't know how the board's going to feel about that, but they knew the need, had heard from the members, and they saw the price tag, and they said, let's see what we can do. And at that point, we had it's on board, obviously on paper, in theory. And so then they tasked me with several months of almost half a year of due diligence. Say, okay, this is an idea on paper, it looks great. How do we do this? What does it look like? And so that was how most of 2017 was spent, was trying to dive in. And Connexon was a great resource for that because they obviously know everything about the industry. So it was a lot of meetings, a lot of phone calls, a lot of talking to other cooperatives, a lot of diving in, just learning. Basically trying to learn a whole new industry in 6 months, which was exhausting, but got us to the point where we were comfortable with it, and we, I guess officially launched as a tough word, but we hired David in September of 2017, so that was kind of the first official act to head this direction.